In this video, we'll learn about how to customize views in a SharePoint website. So basically, in every SharePoint website, we have a lists and libraries. In every list, we have some views there. So by default, the data which we see that we have inputted by using the list web form, that we can see the data. That's nothing but a view. So what a view is? Usually, when you generate a display of database contents and the display is called as a report. In SharePoint, it is called as a view. So SharePoint is offering built-in view customization tools, which gives us all kinds of control over how to display and manipulate the data and what you will put in this list. So we can just customize these views based on the criteria. So in the view customization, majorly it has filtering conditions, and we can put some sorting techniques, and we can hide or we can show some columns data, and we can group the data based on the list data which you already have it, and we can display some subtotals of all columns and show list with date information like calendar or some tables. So let's see how best we can customize views in a SharePoint. So let's open our website. So right now we were onto the trainers list, and whenever we see the data which is there in the trainers list, it's a default view data. Then what is the default view name? And if you closely observe the URL says list/trainers list, and in the trainers list we were actually onto all items.aspx. So all items.aspx is nothing but a view which is there in the trainers. The view name is all items, and in a list tools and a list ribbon interface, right now we can see the current view activated onto this trainers is all items. And let's now modify this view. Just click on modify view, and the very first option we have it is we can change the view name. Okay, next we can hide or we can show some columns. If you want to hide some columns, just uncheck them, and if you want to show some columns, just check them. And at the same time we can maintain them positions from the left side. So that's what we already covered on this. Later we have sorting techniques. Earlierly we can also sort the list data without using the sorter, but the technique that you have implemented on that particular view will have that sorting only for your session. That's it. So once the moment when we logged out from the site, that sorting will not be the permanent technique onto the view. So if you want to set like permanent sorting technique should be set on a SharePoint list. So here we have to set it. In the modify view we have an option called as an sort. So here we'll set it. By default, every list item was sorted according to ID column. Let's say we'll change from ID column to, we can have a column from experience. So I want a list data should be sorted according to experience, and later in the experience we want an ascending order. You can also maintain the second priority will be, let's given to the high ID. So there we will maintain according to the some descending order. Sort only the specified criteria. So the specified criteria, if you have any folders in a list, then we will need to worry about it. Right now we don't have any folders here, so we don't have to worry about them. So just scroll up and click on OK. Now you'll observe that the experience column has an ascending order, and according to this experience columns data, the complete list item were organized. That was sorted basically. So even we can filter the data. So once again, let's modify view here. Let's put a filter condition like we can put a filter onto course name, with the course name which is equals to SharePoint 2010. So wherever we have a course name as SharePoint 2010, only that item should be listed. Scroll up and click on OK. Now you can see there are only 2 items listed here. At the same time, we can also put few more controls in this filtering condition. There were basically 2 default functions offered by the SharePoint. The first function is today and second function is me. The today function will basically work with date and time column, and me is a function which works with person or a group column. Person or a group column is a special kind of a column which will validate the users from Active Directory. So by default we have a person or a group column which is created by. So I want to see the list of items which is created by, which is equals to, and I'm going to put a condition is me. So whenever the person who logged into the website and the items which he created, only he can see the list data. That's it. So the items which he haven't created, the data will not be shown onto the list view. So let's enable this condition and scroll up and OK. And at the same time, we want to see the list of items which were created only today. So once again, let's modify view. Let's put the condition as created, which is actually a date and time column. So which is equals to today. So once again, today is a built-in function offered from the SharePoint. Scroll up, click on OK. Now you can see that these were the some items which are created today. Now I want to put a condition there. Right now we have only the one thing, and let's enable the thing first of all. We'll go to the scroll up and let's enable created column information. And now I'm going to put one more condition here. The first condition says only the items which are created today I want to see, and second condition is I should able to see the items which were created by me. So only when both the conditions are met, then only we have to see the data. So just scroll up and click on OK. Now the data gets same here because everything is created today only, no problem at all. So let us change something. Just for a moment, I can change the date on time here. Let's change it from earlier date 22nd. So date and time has to be get changed a little here. I wish to change 24th. Okay. So I have changed now 24th is a date, and all these items were created on 23rd date. I have changed it to the 24th date. Let's have a refresh. Now you can see there is no list data at all, because all the list items which were created today only, they should be listed here according to the filter condition. And then after I want to see only the items which are created by me. I hope it makes sense. So once again, let's have a look at it. Modify view and the filter condition. It clearly says created should equals to today only. Let us create one more item today. So I'll get back to the trainers. Let's create a new item. Let's do trainer name, experience of 13 years. I did optional component, anyhow we can leave this. Let's take a subscriber name is Bob. Click on save, and according to the 24th date I have created one list item. And let's change the date once again to the previous condition. So date and time today 23rd. Okay, apply. I'm going to refresh the website. Now I will not see this content at all. and rather you can closely observe the previous items will also not be displayed. So it took little time here. Basically I forgot to click on OK button. So when you change the date and time, we need to click on OK button. So when we just refresh the website, once again we can get back to our previous data. This is how the filter condition will work with. And let's modify and let's see a few more conditions there. And we can frame a number of conditions here like this. And SharePoint 2010 has a new feature which is inline editing. Let's allow inline editing. Let's see how it works. Scroll up, click on OK. Now for every reason, like for every new item creation, I used to load web form. So I don't want to load a web form for every new item which I want to insert. So what I need to do, I can have an enable inline editing. So just click on the symbol. The data gets loaded, the form gets loaded only in place of this view itself. Right now we were onto the all items view, and within the all items view, we can directly see the form activated here. So from here itself we can input the information. Okay, that is fine. Let's get back to the list once again and click on modify view. Let's uncheck hide date column and click on OK. And you can see this, the context has expired, no longer usage, because the hide date column may be a mandatory column which we cannot skip it. Okay, let's put it this. Let's remove certified column. Okay, now the certified column is removed here. Click on expand. Now it's not aiming for the certified column at all, because though it is an automatically populated column, still it won't create any conflict in this situation also. But I'll try to remove this experience column, which is mandatory column. So we cannot remove this. Okay, let us try to remove this at least course name. Go to modify view. Let's try to uncheck course name. Click on OK. Now we don't have the course name here, but the moment when I try to add a new item here, it's not even asking the course name information. So the course name information is not at all filled at all. Since it's an optional component, we can even skip it. So basically, then inline editing will give us an option to insert the data only into the columns which were enabled to the view. So the columns which are not enabled to the view will not be taken any information. And we should make sure that all the mandatory columns are enabled to the view. So if the mandatory columns are not enabled to the view, there might be a conflict once again. So this is a new introduction in SharePoint 2010. Inline editing. Let's see the few more things. Yeah, tabular view. Let's remove this. Inline editing, that's okay. And what is this tabular view? By default in SharePoint, we have an option to select multiple items. So by default the tabular view is enabled here. Let's let it be same, no problem. I'm not going to change anything. Let's click on OK. And now I can select multiple items at one single instance and make them to delete. Because this option is enabled only when the tabular view is working perfectly. If I remove this tabular view, let's see what happens. Go to modify view. Let's uncheck this tabular view. And now scroll up and click on OK. Now we don't have an option to select multiple items because the checkbox option is disabled from the tabular view. So the tabular view is responsible to hold checkboxes before the items. Fine. Next we have a group by. So we can show the list information, that is list item information, according to some group by conditions. Let's say the first group by condition will be according to experience or something like a course name. The second group by condition can be taken according to experience. So totally we are going to have an 2 group by, and by default all the items will be collapsed. I mean the grouping of these items can be collapsed, and we have an option to expand them also. And the number of groups to be get displayed for particular page, by default let's keep it as a 30. That's the group limitation is 30. I'm going to put it. You can even customize them. Just scroll up, click on OK. Now the first group by condition, so according to the SharePoint 2007 there is a 1 item here, and according to SharePoint 2010 there were 2 items. So the first group by condition is successfully executed. Then furtherly expand, and now we have an experience. So within 2007 we have an experience which is 14, and there is 1 item based on this. Similarly in SharePoint 2010 we have an 2 experiences, which is on, one is on 5 and second one is on 18. And only when you expand this, then the corresponding item information will be revealed. When you expand this, the corresponding item information will be revealed. So this is how the group by conditions will work in SharePoint. By default, within this list, we can only keep 2 group by conditions only. But whenever we want to have a multiple group by conditions, once again we can just customize those things by the SharePoint designer. So the next thing that we have is totals. Let's remove this group by conditions for now. Totals. Whenever we want to have one column which shows complete information, like adding of some information or deleting, or if you want to maintain some average column information, we can create a column and we can create some formula on them. But let's say you have an experience column here, and actually experience column which is a number column, that's the reason it can be counted, it can be made as an average, it can be made a maximum. Let's select this maximum value. So I want to know the maximum experience limit onto this particular list. Maybe for the trainer name, bits and count, and subscriber name, yes, we can count. Let's put in this condition. Let's see what happens there. Scroll up, okay. And now you can see the maximum experience on this particular trainers list is 18. And this option will be given only for the number columns only. For the rest of all the columns, it can be like only count option will be given. You can see this, the trainer name. Right now the count is 3 because we have a total 3 items. The same time subscriber, we have 3 items on this. And at the same time, if we have a currency column, even on the currency column we can also have a few more operations what are possible for the number column. Same operations are also applied onto the currency column. Let's get back to the modify view. Let's see a few more things. And later we have an styles. So we can display this list item information according to some styles. So most of times we'll take this preview pane. Very recently, most of times we'll make use of this preview pane in the projects. Let's click on OK. So when you mouse out to the particular item, that item information is populated into the right side. So what columns you have enabled in the view, only those columns will be enabled, and with the corresponding information will be populated. This is how the preview pane will work. And we have a few more styles there. We have a box style, we have a shared style, we have a newsletter style. Newsletter style is also one of the standard, which is followed by the SharePoint people most of the times. You can see every item which has a line separated from one item to other line. It's a newsletter standard. At the same time, we can have a boxed, we have a boxed with labels. So I want you to more explore onto the styles. So apply all the styles and check how the styles will apply onto the SharePoint. Right now the folders are not applicable onto the list level. So once again at library level, we'll get back to the modify view of library, and they will understand how best we can make use of this customizing library. And next, item limit. In a page, how many items that we want to display? Let's put this condition as only 2 here because I have totally 3 items. So the third item will be displayed onto the second page. So just click on OK, and the first and second item were onto the one page, and the third item is on dedicatedly on second page. So that is item limit we can maintain into the SharePoint website. The last thing that we have it is mobile modification. So how to just modify the views in a mobile. So by default, if you have a SharePoint website opened in a mobile phone, so obviously in a mobile the screen will be comparatively little less, so we cannot show all the item information. That means all the columns information cannot be displayed in the mobile view. So we can display one column information, okay, and we can have the limitation is 3, which is by default. The maximum limitation can be of 8. So this is what the mobile view. And if you want to open this mobile URL, you can go to site actions, site settings, and this is what the mobile URL should be there. So we can make use of this. So whenever you want to open the website to be opened in a mobile, so we can make use of this mobile URL, but make sure that the production server is enabled with mobile view also. So only then we can open this mobile URL in it. So that's all in this video, and here in this video we have just seen how to customize the views in SharePoint, and later in upcoming videos we'll create new views for a same list and we'll assign these views to the web parts. So there we'll see once again how best we can customize the views and how to apply this view onto the web part. So that will be the future video. So that's all in this video. Thank you.